Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and something kind of funny happened when I was playing Arena yesterday. You know the task that's usually right there and you can click on it once to reset it? Well, anytime that it says 500 coins, you should just automatically click it once to reset it because you can reset it once, only one time per day, and that's it. But you stand a chance, I think it's about a 1 in 4 chance of it becoming a 750 coin reward. So if you do that over the long term and every time it's not 750, you click it to see if it becomes 750, like per month, per 30 days, you can get a lot of extra coins. Fun little exploit that they have not patched yet because I guess they just don't care. But anyway, I got stuck with one that said something about red and white spells or red and white creatures or something like that. I'm like, oh crap. Let's take a look at my actually competitive finished decks. Green, blue-green, blue-green, not done yet, mono-green, and green-black. I have absolutely nothing that would play white or red. So I thought, let's just throw together a basic white-red, super obvious, just not well thought out, just who cares deck. I thought, what's the easiest way? Well, it's the same as like draft, just creatures and ambush boost. It's a very, very tried and true deck. So I built Candy Cane, and it won 11 games in a row. Now, keep in mind, I have very strong evidence indicating that when a brand new deck is created in Arena, you will go up against much, much, much easier opponents because I suspect, one, it hasn't figured out what deck archetypes and color combinations beat your deck, so it doesn't know when it wants you to lose who to put you up against, so it just picks one. And also, the deck doesn't have a recorded win-loss record. So I think those two things go into like older decks where they decide that you won too much or just whatever. The game just decides to basically rig the match. It can't do that with a new deck. So I had an artificially high win rate because I suspect because of that. Now, that is not admitted by them, but it's virtually proven through the statistics that I've been keeping. So that aside, this deck has a huge mathematical advantage for one simple reason, okay? If you have a deck like my old deck before rotation called H1N1 AIDS SARS Ebola, which was one of the worst decks ever, but it had a win rate of like 80 to 90%, why wouldn't I always play with that? Well, because a short game with that deck would be 20 to 30 minutes. It's just a control-a-thon, super friends, just drag the game out, deck from hell. And so even though I had a win rate that was astronomically higher than anything I could possibly put it up against, I wasn't progressing through the ranks quick enough because I could only play like 3 or 4 or 5 games per day. Now compare that to this one where the average game duration is about 3 minutes. Even if I only have a 60% win rate or even a 70% win rate with this deck, because I can get more games in per hour, I'm going to progress faster with a provably worse deck that's less likely to win. Hopefully you guys understand the math on that. It's very, very basic and very understandable. So that said, I would strongly recommend people build this for 2 reasons. One, if you don't have much time to play and you just want to get in your 15 wins per week, and the couple wins per day to get the most coins, definitely build this. And then also, if you're like me and you just need a deck that's white and or red to finish the white and or red missions. Also, this is almost all commons and uncommons, and the couple rares are extremely optional. This is not a tight deck list. I mean, I did optimize it. I did +1, -1 a couple cards, so it's a little tightened up, but it's such a good archetype that you could change it and just say, oh, I don't have this rare. I got to swap it out for something similar, or just, add one more of these, one more of these, and one more of these. You'll be fine. Like, the deck will still play just fine. So in theory, you should be able to build this with just commons and uncommons, I think. I mean, Feather is kind of the background of the deck, but I think everybody got at least like 2 or 3 copies of her for free during some event or she's in some starter deck or something, or I don't remember. Just everybody seems to have her, and I think she was an automatic thing in something. I don't know. But besides that, I mean, we've got Arrestor Zeal. Target creature gets +2/+2 till end of turn, and if you cast this during your main phase, it also gains flying. Very important. Then we got God's Willing, the white counter spell. Let's just call it what it is. And also, you can make your creature effectively unblockable. Then we've got Take Heart, which is +2/+2 for 1 instant speed. You gain 1 life for each attacking creature, which is nice. Otherwise, it's just +2/+2 for 1, which is why it's in here. And then Goblin Banneret, there's only 1 just because of how the ratio had to go and the damage calculations, which were pretty meticulous for such a basic deck. But once it started winning, I started actually caring about what's in it. So he is a 1/1 for 1 without haste, but he has Mentor, which is nice. And then also, you can boost him without an instant. So if you keep drawing crap, he can still win the game, theoretically. Although he'll be like a 5-1 and he'll last approximately one swing. But then he's got Mentor too. But since he's kind of fragile and not that great, and usually you don't run out of instants to boost stuff, I only put in one. Then we got Infuriate, the number one strongest boost that isn't green or doesn't involve a creature quantity. So it's +3/+2 for 1 mana at an instant speed. Or I should say it's the biggest boost divided by the amount of mana that it costs, because there are bigger boosts than this, obviously. I think there's +7/+7. Then we got Samut Sprint. Fantastic card. It's a 1-cost instant that gives +2, which is huge because damage is good, +1 toughness, which is good, and then it gains haste, which is huge, and then also scry 1 so that you can prevent from drawing crap. You can line up basically another whatever you need, more creatures, more boost, or more land, I guess. And you can cast this on your opponent's creature in case of emergency. Like after combat, it effectively does nothing, but you can scry 1 for free. Wonderful. Then we got Integrity Intervention, which is nice. The instant is just +2/+2 for 1 hybrid. Very nice. Technically a better card than Rester Zeal, although no flying. And then Intervention is kind of cool. It's unassociated with combat, so it doesn't matter if you're attacking, blocking, or anything. Just straight up 4 mana, 3 damage to any target you gain through life. Good for taking out a planeswalker in some cases. I don't commonly use this, but if I'm backed into a corner, I will. So then we got Fencing Ace, the 1/1 for 2 double strike card that is so good it is in one of my top tier modern decks. This card is insane. Then we've got Moment of Heroism, very important for gaining 15 to 20 life when you're about to lose, which is what happens all the time, so there's 4 of it. Target creature gets +2/+2 and lifelink. So it's only +2/+2, but it's 2 mana. Why wouldn't I just run a Rester Zeal? Well, because lifelink is that important. You are going to swing every single turn with every single creature in all likelihood. You have to be able to do something about the damage that you're taking back. I will say this deck has the highest damage output out of any deck that exists in the game right now. It just barely edges out Cavalcade, and that's with just the average start, not an ideal start. Otherwise, Cavalcade would win, although I have beat people on turn 3 with this, so kind of depends. So, I mean, yeah, you do need defense in case they're hitting you pretty hard, or if they've got an aggressive deck and they're going first. Then we got Sunhome Stalwart. He's just good because he has Mentor and First Strike. So if you boost him at all, he is going to survive that combat. Very important. But since he doesn't cost 1, I kind of limited it a little bit. Also, this card is just better. Swiftblade Vindicator is one of the best cards in that entire set. It's a 1/1 for 2, double strike, vigilance, trample. Double strike and trample is insane, and then vigilance is just out of control. So yeah, I put in 4. This is game ending. This is how you win on turn 3 or 4. Then we got 1 Krenko just because it's funny. You don't really need him. It's just kind of funny because whenever he attacks, put a 1/1 counter on him and then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. So as long as you boosted him before combat then swing, you could get a dozen or a half dozen goblins depending upon how many times you boosted it. Very, very, very easy to flood, and your opponent does not think you're going to flood because that's not what this deck does, but this one card does, and I have some hilarious gameplay of that. Then we got Feather, the most broken card ever. This should have been banned a long time ago. It's in the top 5 for the most ban-worthy cards in Standard. This is just utterly disgusting, this power level. So it's a 3/4 flyer for 3, which is already ridiculous, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets not just her, but anyone, any creature that you control at all, exile that card instead of putting it in your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So you can use God's Willing on your turn, and then their turn, then your turn, then their turn. It never goes away. Unless you're holding more than 7 cards in your hand, those are staying forever. So if you use an Infuriate to +3/+2, your Swiftblade Vindicator and Feathers out, you get to do it again, then again, then again. And it has double strike and trample. This card never should have been printed. It absolutely deserves a ban. And it's kind of the backbone of the deck, but you can win without it. If this comes out, you have about a 99% chance of winning. If it doesn't come out, you probably still are at about a 60% chance of winning. And then, this is the mana base. You probably have dual lands, so not the end of the world, but honestly, this deck doesn't need to be extremely fast, so you probably need the Sacreds, but the Temple are the opposite. You could cut all of them if you don't have wild cards. Just replace them with, I don't know, maybe life lands, because it'll keep you alive. I don't know. I wouldn't do like plains or mountains because that's too much. You don't ever want to have more than 6 and 6. Otherwise, you could get color locked way too easily. And I will say I've never actually used Castle Embereth ever, so or I've never used its ability, never had to. I've always had better cards in hand, but in case of emergency, in case you're top decking garbage, hey, it's an option. +1, cool. So let's see this in action. All right, so this is a game where everything goes right. Now I thought, okay, double white, not ideal, but we've got 4 cards out of 5 that I can cast and 2 lands instead of 1. So, hey, if I just consider, honestly, at this point, Feather and the Double Striker as dead cards, it's kind of like I did mulligan. So, also I didn't know I would draw that. But Feather is the most powerful card in the deck. If you pull it, you're probably going to win if they don't blow it up. You're definitely going to win if they don't blow it up. So I drop him. He's a slow playing dick like everybody else on Arena. Gift of Paradise, so he's going big. He's definitely going big. I get the red land. I hate pulling nothing but mono-colored lands, because you never know if I'm going to have to cast 3 red boosts. You never know if I'm going to have to cast 3 white boosts. I want options. So here we go. Kill him and then give him the lifelink, because I want to do as much damage to his life total as possible, not gain as much life as possible. I'm not trying to buy time here. I'm trying to take time away from him. So he boosted right into Nissa. I mean, what is it, like turn 3? Killer move there. But he's going to get his lands killed, as you probably suspected. So he clearly didn't learn from the first time. Why would I ram a 2-2 into a 3-3? Because it's a 4-4 is the answer. So I get all my boosty boost back. If he can't get rid of Feather, he's dead. Well, spoiler alert. Let's see. So Aggressive Mammoth, fantastic move. I mean, this guy's, everything's going right for him. He gets another free creature because Nissa should have been banned a long time ago. Another Gift of Paradise, 3 life off it. He's at 19 after getting just crushed. So I thought, okay, we need a double strike trampler so that I can get twice as much damage out of my boosty boost. So I also want Nissa gone because she's a raging bitch. So that was overkill, but I thought, well, 1, I get the card back, and 2, hey, 7 lifelink. Why wouldn't I cast it? So then he brings the Mammoth. I just let him through because I'm like, whatever. I've got lifelink again for Moment of Heroism, and I'm just gonna literally bulldoze that through whatever he decides to block it with. So I get the Mentor trigger. Boom, we're at 8 damage. Boom, we're at 12 damage. Boom, we're at 16 damage. Ouch. 1 life, and I get all the spells back. You tell me Feather shouldn't be banned. You're a crazy person if you think Feather shouldn't be banned. Then again, I mean, 1 little removal spell and she's dead. 1 plummet, she's dead. So, but still, unless she's dead, she is stupidly overpowered for 3 mana. I wouldn't even be complaining if she cost 5. So he forfeits, obviously. Okay, so here's the exact opposite. Here's when the deck falls apart. And this looks like a stronger open, but remember, I've only got 1 creature. That's not good because that 1 kill spell could potentially shut down my entire attack until I get another one. And basically nothing in this deck has haste because I prioritized, first strike and really good abilities over just 1 turn worth of speed. So we get the Samut there, which is nice. A little extra damage there. The Scry. And Loming Shaman, okay, there's a blocker, so that means that I'm done doing damage to him, which sucks. Then he brings cards back. I always thought that's kind of overrated, but he's running that kind of deck. So I get Feathers, so I'm like, okay, cool. I get God's Willing, Moment of, I can't read that because I'm watching a low quality preview. Infuriate and the other one, I get them back every single turn. So I thought, let's just see how dumb he is. Okay, cool. And there it is. I almost should have just made him not block to not get the food because I think he gained life off that. Probably not the smartest move there, but whatever. It's gone at least. I mean, he's going to block with it eventually. I could just God's Willing him every single turn, but it's only 2 extra damage, whereas all the rest of the spells are immense amount of damage. I should have just almost not swung with him at all. So he's flashing in Night Pack. I thought, well, I don't need that. I need damage to go through. Boom, 3 life. Here's where it all falls apart. Now you could see that setup, I could do probably, an extra, 10 damage at least to him? Spark Harvest. So now I have all boost and no creatures. Now you know that I do need more boost than creatures in this deck because I'll boost them, then wait a turn, then boost them. Feather doesn't come out every game. I mean, I could make this a blue Scry deck with Scry and draw options like that whole look at the top 7, grab 1, look at the top 4, grab 1. grab 2 for the other one, and make Feather come out every game and then cover her with counter spells. But how much slower would this deck be? So speaking of slow, this guy's playing slow as hell, but I've got it at 250x, or I would say that 250%. 250x would be basically 1 frame. So I hit him with the boost and scry to scry and get some garbage I don't need out of the way. He gets Questing Beast, which is annoying, but it's still 26-6. Finally, Fencing Aced. It's a miracle. And I have the God's Willing to save it. So I could use it right now to kill Questing Beast. I could use it, then boost it, kill it, but I thought, I bet he's got another removal. He's playing black, and he, in fact, does. He has another Spark Harvest, so I give it pro black, and then leave the mountain on top, because I thought, okay, I might be able to actually kill him this turn with boost. But then I thought, oh, wait, I don't have a way to give it trample. So I thought, well, let's make it big enough. Okay, get, 6 lifelink. Cool, 25-6, no problem. I hope he doesn't blow it up. Massacre Girl, so he tries to blow it up, but I thought, well, not really. She's not a direct kill spell. She just -1s him. Boom, done. Then I drop in another land. Unfortunately, didn't really need that. I thought, oh, maybe he's dumb enough to block. He is. +3, boom, dead, first strike. Good for me. Another Massacre Girl. Ouch. Make him big enough, 2/2, shrink, nothing happens, but then she's still there. I don't have a way to get past him. So, I boost him up to 4 with the land, first time I ever used that. And let's see, Fabled, cool, he didn't really need that, but he's got 4 in hand, and Murderous Rider, one of the best cards in Standard right now. That card by itself can hit him, his life total directly for 3, but I hate Garruk and I don't want him to emblem, or I'll never get past him except for with the flyer, and there's 1 in the deck. Trample double strike, I'd probably get past him, but I mean, 12 worth of wolves, that's a lot. I keep drawing just garbage I don't need, and the deck's just, at this point, yeah, I might as well just forfeit, and I do, I believe. So I'm just not going to win, whatever. I didn't draw what I needed. That was just like 5 shit draws in a row, 6 if you want to count that one. So what do you do in that scenario? Well, you lose the game and then play another one and win that, because just play, 20 games in 60 minutes and just get mostly wins. I mean, it has a win percentage above 50%. Simple. So that you might think, well, what do I do to fix the deck to help this scenario? Just take the loss and then win the next game. You got to think outside the box here. So, pretty darn good start with this one. I mean, this is, the Swiftblade and Feather are the 2 strongest cards in the deck, and if you get either of them out, you're probably going to win. I mean, trample and then unlimited boost spells, what are you going to do? Your only option is to blow them up instantly or lose, like for your opponent. So we got Swiftblade. So he's got all kinds of lifelink, hyper ramp, all this. It's 11 to 29. I mean, I'm gaining more life than he is, which is hilarious. So I thought, okay, I should probably get out Feather because I'm running low on boost here. But I didn't quite feel right swinging with that and losing it because I had just red, which is why I'm considering dropping the number of basic lands and just putting in some kind of dual land, even if it comes in tapped, because after it comes in tapped, I need it to be one or the other. Now, then I'd lose a turn earlier and maybe it would be a wash. I don't know. So we got another Swiftblade. I drop it in and give it a boost and haste, which is the highest amount of damage I could do. I don't need another land. And then I boost it, but I get both of those spells back. Now, also because I did that during my main phase, it gains flying. That's important, except that he has flyers. But it's trample. It's double strike trample. I mean, how many flyers could he really have? He has 4 toughness total in the air. That ain't good enough. So even though Feather is pinned down with passivism, her ability still goes off. Ouch. So if they turn her into a frog, that's bad. If they outright kill her, that's bad. And the only way to save her is God's willing. So actually, in the first half of this video, I kind of gave the wrong out-of-date deck list. I have updated it with more Arrestor Zeal because you need to get past them. There's not enough trample in this deck. Flying pretty much is trample, kind of. I mean, you just got to get that damage through, and flying is one of the ways to do it. So I doubled the number of that to 4, and I believe I put God's Willing to 4 as well because that would, in most cases, make your creature unblockable. I mean, if they're running enough colors, no, but you can't plan for every scenario. You can't just make a do-it-all perfect deck that never gets shut down in any scenario. That's not what I'm going for. Once again, I am going for a deck that just wins like 60 or 70% of the time, and I can play extremely short games and just let the math of that work itself out to progress through the Platinum League faster. So to reiterate, I built this to finish white and red tasks daily and accidentally built a deck that can absolutely obliterate the competitive league. Oops. And I just find it hilarious and fascinating that to get through the competitive league faster and progress faster, you need a weaker deck with more weaknesses that's less likely to win, and you just ride the speed of the deck and the math takes care of itself. It's just truly amazing. So I would highly recommend everybody build this. The only huge hurdle is that you absolutely need 4 feather. You absolutely need 4 Swiftblade. And like I said, I think everybody has multiple feathers, but Swiftblade Vindicator is a rare. Now, it's from such an old set that you might already have them unlocked, but basically besides those, assuming you also have most of the dual lands unlocked, or you could just play without them, it's not unheard of. You can build this entire deck with a grand total of 0 mythic wildcards and extremely few rare wildcards. Remember, Krenko is completely optional. You could completely take him out. He's very situational, very unnecessary. I just thought he was kind of fun, and I already had one unlocked. The rest of them are almost entirely commons and uncommons. In fact, I think they all are. And I have 115 common wildcards and 189 uncommon wildcards. You probably have a similar number. And if you have 0 respect for Arena, because remember, this deck is so fast and so oppressive and so impossible to stop that it doesn't even let your opponent play their deck if it's anything even resembling mid-range. The only thing that stops it is control, so you're actually directly flawlessly in line with the philosophy of the meta right now. If you play this deck, you are part of the problem, you are ruining everybody's good time, you're suppressing creativity, you're telling people, no, actually, you can't just build whatever good, strong mid-range deck you want. Welcome to Arena, where only wins matter and how much fun you're having is not my problem. Which, with the last ban decision, appears to also be Wizards' official position on the game. So if you're fine with that, build this deck. Oh, and I have worse decks than this in the works, by the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.